What time is it? I think you know what time it is. According to my watch, my proverbial watch, it is 12:30. That means that it's time for you and I to discuss it with Drake. And today is episode number 124. And the quick topic is going to be buying a property with tenants. What you need to know, because there's stuff you definitely need to know. So before we get started, please keep in mind, if you ever missed a live broadcast, just go over to YouTube. Have you been to YouTube yet? You should have. Type in Drake's Real Estate TV, hit subscribe, and then you won't miss an episode. So please say hello in the comments when I see you come on. Hello, Lee. How are you? So here we go. When you decide to buy a home, and you're going to use me, right? It's not something that you take lightly. So there can also be numerous complications that arise as part of the process, especially if you buy a house that has tenants. So if you're buying a house as an investor, choosing one that already has tenants can be a win-win or an ideal situation. However, if you're planning to use the home as your residence, it can be different. It actually can be inconvenient at a minimum. Excuse me. Regardless of being in either situation, you should understand the implications for you as the buyer, as a potential landlord. So if you buy a house, whether it's a single family or multifamily, and it has existing tenants, the rental income that's already been generated actually may help you get a loan if you're purchasing it as a rental. And you can basically claim up to 75% of what the actual rent is right now. So you're buying someone else's home at this point. So the tenant has all the rights they were granted as part of their existing lease. You agree to take on these obligations as their landlord. So you want to ensure that you fully understand all the state and local laws before you jump into this situation, okay? Tenants' rights do vary a lot between states, and there are some states where the laws, the landlord, buying a house in a state that favors tenants is doable, but there are some things you need to be aware of. So the most important individual thing that you can research beforehand are the existing terms on the lease. The current owner and tenant more than likely have signed a lease agreement, which at its core states that the tenant can live there if they pay their rent. And you may be able to ask them to leave, depending on your state and the terms of the agreement, but there's also the potential that you can't. Along with inheriting the lease terms, you'll also have to adhere to whatever the landlord obligations are in your state, such as complying with building and health codes, ensuring the systems are functioning properly, and responding to repairs promptly. So as a buyer, one particular risk that you could face with a tenant-occupied property is that it might not be up to code currently, and you could be liable if the past owner didn't maintain the house properly. Well, the pros of buying a property occupied by tenants is that you're going to be a landlord immediately, and you don't have to go and find them, so you have a source of immediate rental income. The cons are the legal risk that you're inheriting. The fact that you have to honor the lease terms, and the fact that it can be tricky to remove a tenant. And it definitely can be tricky to remove a tenant. So if you're buying a house with tenants, but hope to live there, you can't use that as the sole reason to remove them. You have to wait until the lease comes to an end. And from there, you have to ensure that you're compliant with the laws that require you to notify tenants that you won't be renewing their lease. Eviction of a tenant is expensive and tough to do and can take a very long time. So if you plan to buy a home to live there, it's almost always best to avoid choosing one with current tenants. The exception might be that if you include terms in your purchase contract with the current owner and requiring them to end the lease prior to the close of sale. That's always my choice. They'd have to, allow them to do so. And sometimes they're going to have to incentivize the tenants to leave. But you want that done before you close escrow. Some states can use a move-in eviction, allowing property owners to retake possession of a tenant-occupied home if they're going to live there. So the best thing to do when you're buying a property or thinking about it, especially with tenants, is to research and understand your potential legal responsibilities and liabilities, okay? Tenants can be very, very, very valuable if you're buying a multifamily property, because that's what you want normally. or one that you plan to rent. But when buying a home you plan to live in, avoiding homes with tenants is usually optimal. So that's really all I have for you today. I hope you found that interesting. I hope you found it informative. I want to thank Realty Times for providing that information to me so I can provide it to you. Like I said, I hope you found it interesting. As always, please don't keep it a secret. Share this with everyone you know. And there's a topic that you would like me to discuss in the future. Just let me know and I'll get it on the calendar. I hope that you have a fantastic week. Please be kind to one another. Don't forget to live, laugh, and love. Until I see you again next week, when the next move matters, contact Drake for Homes. Talk to you later. See you later.